Hi there, welcome back. I first would like to thank everybody for participating in the poll that I posted, letting me know and others know what they'd like to hear about. I've been in touch with some fabulous flute players about presenting on those topics. Today, I wanted to do a video about low register. There were some requests for how to create more power in our low register. I feel like that's the million-dollar question, right? For band directors, for flute players, how do I get more sound? I need to be bigger. So I hate to break it to you, but it's not air. More air does not equal more sound always. And that's especially true in our low register. So I'm just going to present what I use in my own teaching, what I have found in my own playing, and I know that there are tons of people out there who have other ways of thinking about it, and so I hope they chime in also. This is just one perspective, and I hope it helps you out. So, the first thing you can do to help your playing, period, is to check in with your body. So I'm standing right now, but this is true also when you're sitting. How are your feet doing? Are they, are you balanced over your feet? Do you feel the contact with the floor? This is so super important, and I feel like when we address posture, it's such an easy solution. It helps so much with the rest of your playing. It's one of those very holistic solutions to issues. So check in with your feet, and then coming up, check in with your knees. Are they tight? Are you locking them? Check in with your quad muscles. Are those being gripped for some unknown reason? And then moving on up to your hips. Are those fairly loose in there? And the lower back. Are you holding any tension there? One thing I like to say to my students, which is hilarious to me and slightly embarrassing for them, but I promise it's more embarrassing for me to say, is to let your butt smile. I feel like we often get into the habit of tucking our pelvis under, and so it's like our butt is puckering, and I just feel like let the butt smile. Releases the butt and releases some of the tension in the lower back. So, can I be looser in there? Moving on up to the shoulder blades, one thing I've been working on is can I release those? Can I let those hang just a little bit more in the back so they're not actively trying to participate in holding the flute up? So, yeah. Check in with your elbows. Are those hanging down? We want to avoid chicken wings, right? So just everything being as natural as possible. Now going up to the neck, can you release some tension in there? One fun little exercise I learned, I think it was from Feldenkrais instructor, I'm not sure, could have been Alexander. But so if you haven't turned your head towards your stand yet, so you're facing in the same direction as your body, just to the right. One way to move the head is to first move the eyes to the stand without moving the chin, so like that, and then let the chin move to meet your eyes. There's something about that exercise that really allows the neck to be a little bit more free. So that's a fun thing to try out. And then, so we have neck, and is the skull just nicely able to rotate on the top of your spine? Yeah, so everything coming together, just checking in, any tension anywhere. And that is going to be a huge help when you're playing the flute, period. Specifically about low register, I thought I would talk about some of the factors that go into creating a beautiful, powerful low register without using a lot of force. So if we blow a lot of air, we get something like this. Something like that. It's not that pretty, and I'm running out of air really quickly. So it's important to remember more air does not equal more sound. Um, my former teacher from San Francisco, Tim Day, huge sound, amazing player, and he would talk about using only the air in your mouth, which is a really interesting idea to think about. Yeah, so really just what happens if you use 2% less, so amount of air. Next up, vowel shape. I like to say to students, especially when I go out to high schools, imagine you have eaten a hot potato or something really hot. You put it in your mouth and it's too hot, oh no. So it's like a ho or an o, maybe an or ah vowel. When I go out into schools, I find that it's the tongue is too high in the mouth. They're using more of an oo or an e vowel, something like this. Right? It's just not, you're not creating enough space in the mouth. So if I simply change my oo to an ah, I get immediately something a little bit more full. And again, I'm not blowing a lot of air. Aim. Aim is crucial to strengthen your low register. The flute, along with the vowel shape with aim, this is how we can create many, many, many different colors on the flute. It's probably our biggest asset. So if I blow more across, I'm going to get something maybe more French sounding. So that's with still quite a bit of space in the mouth, but I'm aiming more across. As I come down in my aim, I'm going to get something edgier, darker, brassier. So it's often, for me, it feels like I'm stretching my upper lip across my teeth, aiming down into the flute. But remember, you don't want to do this with your chin, right? And I'll demonstrate why. So if I just bring my air down from oo, I get a much darker color. So if I bring my chin down, this can be very seductive because up close it sounds great. It's like, oh, lots of sound. It's real dark. It's just blah. It's like taking a bath in low register. But the problem is that when I get up high, the color just stinks. So the color just cuts out at some point into my high register, whereas if I just get my chin up, all of a sudden the sound just comes in on its own. And again, I am not blowing a lot. I'm not using a lot of force with my air. So that's aim. Aperture. So the size of the aperture can also have an effect on the color of the sound. So I can play a low register sound with my lips quite apart, and I just get a different kind of color. So very nice and rounded, not brassy, but still some core in the sound. It's a nice color. If I bring my upper lip closer to my bottom, so when I aim down and create a small aperture, this is what I get. So it's very round in the mouth, but very closed or a small aperture up front. And okay, so those are 4 factors that you can experiment with when working on your low register. Some other ideas that I use in my teaching. One of them is to place the sound in the chest. So think about echoing like you're a bell, and you're just echoing, the air is vibrating inside of here. So like I'm singing as if I were a baritone or a basso. I'm just feeling really round, as opposed to thinking about my air being from here on up. If I do that, this is what happens. So it's an okay sound. It'll do, but I feel like I'm working really hard and I'm going to run out of air really quickly. So think about placing things lower in the chest. One of the phrases that I love to use is blow from the sternum. The sternum is this hard bone right here. It's that chest bone. I do this instead of using the phrase blow from the diaphragm. The diaphragm, I think, is an ambiguous term, especially for young students. So if you tell them to blow from the diaphragm and you just kind of point to your stomach, they're going to tense up their abs and get this kind of sound. And again, they're going to be working really hard and not having enough air for long phrases. So I use blow from the sternum instead. It tends to work a lot better. If your jaw is tight or gripped, that's not going to do you any favors anywhere on the flute. This will often manifest itself, the tightness, in your articulation. It's very obvious in your articulation when the jaw is tight, because the articulation will be very sticky and not even. So in your double tonguing, so I'm getting a lot of tongue and not a lot of sound. If I let my jaw hang, all of a sudden a lot more sound comes in. This last one is something I've been using probably for the last year or so. It's something I observed one day when I was practicing, and it sounds a little odd. So here it is. Imagine you've got like a ball of air or a sphere of air between your teeth and your lips. So it's in front of your teeth, but behind the lips. Again, it's not a real edgy kind of sound, but it's got a lot of warmth in it, and it feels a lot easier to make the flute work the way I want it to work and the way I want it to sound. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I'm just going to leave it at that and let you experiment. And if anybody else has any helpful suggestions or ideas, please, like this, like I said, the low register is kind of the $1 million question. How do I build it? I need to be able to get some sound down there. And if I were just to choose one thing, it would be not to force your air. That will kill sound faster than anything else. So even up in the high register, if I use a lot of air, I can get sound out and I can get my low register out. It doesn't feel particularly very easy though. If I just back off 2%, I'm able to get a lot more substance within my sound. So I hope that helps. Yeah, great. Let me know how you're doing, and I'll see you later. Bye.